Hello and welcome to WiseWrite at Home. My name is Michelle Hand, and on behalf of the Repertory Theater of St. Louis, we are so glad that you're joining us. Together, we're going to learn how to write a play. Today's lesson is Unit 1, which asks the question, what makes a play a play? But before we get started, we need to download a couple of things from the REP website that are included with this unit. Specifically, we need the blank Venn diagram, looks like this, and we need the opening scene from The Tortoise and the Hare by Brant. Got them? Okay, good. Let's get started. So, what makes a play a play? Well, first and foremost, a play is a story that is told primarily through dialogue versus description or narration. So really, it is a story where we learn about the characters and we learn about what's happening through conversations, instead of some big booming voice like you might find in a story that says, once upon a time. Let me give you an example. Let's say that we have a dog and a cat, and they come across this can, and whatever they try, they can't get the can open. So if we were to tell a story about that, it might sound something like this. Once upon a time, there was a fluffy orange cat who came across a small tin can that had fallen from the kitchen counter. Curious, she sniffed around its shiny edge, batted it with her paw, and tried to turn it over. She worried it might have been damaged in the fall because the counter was very high. A moment later, the family dog, a large German shepherd, came into the kitchen from the hallway and saw the cat worrying. Curious, he came closer and saw the can. He sniffed the can, pushed it with his nose, then barked loudly at it. In spite of all of their efforts, the can remained closed. So if we meet the same dog and cat in a play, it might go something like this. Setting: a simple kitchen with tall wooden counters. There is a small can of tuna on the floor. To the left of the counters, there is a door left slightly open. A cat enters. Meow, meow, meow. Hold up now. What's this? Where did this come from? Well, I swear I was just here and this wasn't... Ooh, it's so shiny. I wonder what it smells like. Not like much of anything at all. Maybe it's just taken a bath and laid down for a nap. Hey, shiny friend, are you awake? Hello? Are you okay? Oh no. Maybe it's hurt. Maybe it fell from up there, that tall place. Maybe it's been knocked unconscious. Hey, shiny? Wake up. Are you breathing? Oh no, why didn't I ever learn CPR? Dog enters from hallway. Woofde, what is this, cat? Are you okay? Oh man, I am really happy to see you. Yeah, I know we usually fight and chase each other around, but I am really, for real, happy to see you. Do you know CPR? What? CPR? Yeah, I think this shiny dude fell from up there and is hurt really bad. Do not panic. You tend to panic. Let me see. He does not smell poorly. Let me give him nudge. Might need more than nudge. Wake up, you shiny man. Wake up right now. Sounds like a very sound sleeper. What should we do? I think we should wait. It's a polite thing to do. A stranger here might be shy. Cat, come sit by me. I will wait with you. Thanks, dog. End of play. Different, right? And yet some of the details were still the same. So stories and plays have differences, but they also have areas where they overlap. To get a better idea of how stories and plays are different, let's take a look at that Venn diagram. So what I'm going to have you do is I want you to fill in to this circle over here some things that you find in plays. And then on this side, I want you to fill in some things that you just find in stories. And then this in-between area, we're going to write down some things that are in both plays and in stories. So go ahead and pause your video here and come back in a couple minutes and we will talk about what we've discovered. Welcome back. Okay, do you have your Venn diagram filled out? I can share with you what we here at the Rep talked about and figured out are some differences between stories and plays. So, under plays, we have things like feelings are shown by what a character says. That's that conversation or dialogue that we talked about. Theater is usually experienced in a group versus in a story where we usually experience that alone. Unless we're in a reading circle or something, usually we sit down with a story and it's just us reading it. In stories, we describe feelings. The narrator tells us how the character is feeling versus finding out through the conversation and dialogue. Some other things that are common to plays but not to stories are things like scenery, lighting design, costumes. Audience has to decide what a character is thinking or feeling. We don't get any guidance, typically, from a narrator like we do in a story. Plays also feature actors. So some things we found about stories are things like actions get explained. That's that description we're talking about. Location, clothing, what the characters look like, what the scenery looks like. Again, that's usually described instead of something that we as an audience would see. And finally, readers can know the character's inside thoughts. What are some things that maybe plays and stories have in common? Well, down here we've got plot and story. We find both plot and story. We've got, they can be funny, sad, serious, scary. And some things in both plays and stories can be real, and some things can be made up. So those are just some different ways of thinking about how stories and plays are different. And that'll be helpful to you as you sit down to write your play to know this is something that belongs with my particular way of writing versus maybe something that I might put into a story. We don't need all of that in a play. So let's take a look at a play together. Included in your unit are the beginning scenes from The Tortoise and the Hare by Brant. So I'm going to give you some time to read this scene out loud at home. And once you've read it, I want you to think about the following questions. 1. Who is in the play and what do we know about each character? 2. What do we know about where we are in this scene? 3. What do you think each character wants? And 4, what are some of the things that could happen next? Okay, this is time to pause the video and I'll see you in a few minutes. Hey, welcome back. Wasn't that a great play, right? Okay, so let's talk about some things that we discovered in the opening scene. The first question asks us, who is in the play and what do we know about them? So, we know that the play characters include Shelley the tortoise, we've got Henry the hare, we've got Wally the bear, and Franny the fox. We've got some forest land creatures here. And what do we know about these folks? Well, let's start with Henry the hare. What do we know about him? Well, I could probably guess that he is really into fitness. So how do I know this? Because when we first meet him, what's he doing? He's doing lunges, right? And then in a conversation with his friend Wally, he talks about his perfect day. He sings about his perfect day, and it includes stretching, exercises, and running a race, right? That's how we know through his actions and through his conversation what Henry is all about. In a story, that would have been described to us for a narrator, but here, Henry himself can tell us through his conversations and through the things that his body is doing on stage. That's how we learn about character in a play. How and what do we know about where we are? So a play tells you where you are first in the stage directions. So if we look at that first page again, we see it says here, the title of the play, The Tortoise and the Hare, setting the forest. That's where we are. We know that from what the playwright is telling us. And then when we would go to the play, we would know where we are by looking at the set. It might include trees and shrubs and grass and hills. That's how we know we're in a forest. The characters can also help us. For instance, think about that little part in the scene of the play where somebody is reminding Wally of how strong he is by saying that he pushed that tree outside of the road. Well, where do we find trees? In a forest. So characters can help us understand where we are too. Our third question, what do you think each character wants? Well, now I want to look at Franny the Fox because she's pretty hilarious, right? I think we can tell very clearly what it is that she wants, and that is a little bit of private time with Henry the Hare, right? How do we know this? Well, she's got a special way of saying hello to him. Hi, right? She bats her eyelashes at him. She flatters him, gives him lots of compliments, asks for his autograph. She even swoons when he hands her the piece of paper back. It's clear from her actions and from her words what it is that she wants. Finally, what could happen next? Well, a great play and a great scene in a play like we have here lets you get to know the characters so well that you can kind of imagine what would happen next. What do you think Shelley is going to do next? What do you think Wally the Bear is up to next? We get to know these characters, and then we, as the audience, start to fill in the blanks. That's something you get to do as a playwright. So with that in mind, let's try writing a scene. You're going to use two characters who are engaged in a conversation. Now, your character and your setting, where the scene takes place, can be based on anything you want. Your characters can be people you know, people based on your family members, your friends at school, maybe the lady at the grocery store, or the, maybe from church. It could even be characters that are based on photos in a magazine. If you have a magazine or a newspaper laying around, take a look at some of the photos of the people in there and see if you can build a character around it. Setting can be wherever you want. Then you're going to use a format like the one we saw in The Tortoise and the Hare. So just like on our sheet here, you're going to start with your title, and then you're going to tell us what your setting is, and you're going to list your two characters. When your characters start to speak, you put their name in all capital letters, and then whatever it is that they're going to say. And then you put the next character's name in all capital letters, and then whatever it is that they respond. And so on and so forth, back and forth, until you have your scene. Once you're finished, have your family and friends read your scene out loud to you. As a playwright, it's important to hear what your words sound like back to you. Sometimes when we're reading and we read it in our head, we don't catch everything. It's really important to have it read out loud. So get everybody involved, get them to read your scene, and enjoy your debut as a playwright. That's it. You're well on your way to becoming a writer. Next time, we're going to look at the elements that make for a well-written play. So keep on writing, and I'll see you soon.